So it's like you're going to be around these people. You're going to be traveling with them. You're going to be sleeping in fucking vans with them. You're going to be sleeping in hotel rooms with them. You're going to be beside each other talking shit to each other. Motherfucking people I work with, I fucking know more about them sometimes than I do my own brothers and sisters. Absolutely. Like literal, like blood brother and sister. So off the rip, tell me the worst thing about you. I appreciate that because I appreciate the ugly foot. Hey, what's up, fellow Guardians? Hip here, coming to you again with another episode of the Tattoo Guardians podcast. And this week we touch on 7 things. 7 things that you could use for hiring or looking for apprentices. And things that we use to hire and look for people, not only apprentices, but artists. And we kind of get into some fucking cool, quirky fucking stories of like tattoo shop shit, which is always dope and a good time. So without any more from me, I give you the Guardians podcast. So, Matt, you put a question out on the Guardians Facebook page, correct?
I did. Just asking the Guardians in the world what other topics you'd love for us to discuss. And man, we've gotten an outpouring. Have you seen any of them, Josh? They keep coming in. Yeah.
It seems like some interesting topics, actually.
Yeah. So that's what the people want to hear. So we're going to give it to you. And today, 2 brothers. Let's shout them out. Our brother Jacob Lopez, who also just joined TBM, by the way. Really excited about that.
Nice.
And then I hope I'm saying his name right. Ant Lanucci. And this Ant guy's always been a supporter, always been a fan of me personally for years. So Ant, we sure appreciate you. Thanks for engaging. And both of these brothers brought up the topic on hiring. How do we hire? What do we look for? From artists and to apprentices. And what does that look like? What's our systems and process? What do we look for? So today, that's what we're bringing you. The top 7 things we look for when hiring an artist, whether it's an artist or an apprentice. You boys ready? Nice.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Okay. Now, first of all, I'd like to start out by saying there is no such thing as a bad team, only bad leadership. Ooh, that one stings a little, right?
You know, it does, but I feel like that's been so close to home lately. Like, I've learned so much from that myself. Kind of like, I think that I had this bad habit of like, you know, really just wanting to be like, I just want everybody to like me, you know what I mean? I'm the boss, but I'm the buddy first and all that. And, you know, like you can get kind of caught up in stuff, like trying to find that balance of how to be a leader, you know, and we've spoke on this before, but I think you, Matt, telling me, or telling the Guardians in general about having a vision, to me, that's where kind of things changed up a bit. You know what I mean? Once I was able to kind of look at more like, what is my clear vision for my studio? And are these people that I have working for me on board? Especially the new people bringing on, right? Especially an apprentice, my God, you know what I mean? So I think having that vision has done a lot for me, for sure.
Powerful. You're so right. And then that vision expands once we bring our people on, because then we help cultivate and create vision in them too.
Right, exactly.
And that comes from like almost like a father's heart, a shepherd, someone who gives a fuck, right?
Right.
Here's a big difference. We've broke down before like the difference between leaders and bosses, right? And everyone's seen the meme where the boss leads from the back with a whip and the leader's on the front lines leading by example. We know that, right? Here's another way to look at it. Bosses of the tattoo studio, owners. Yes, they have the title. That dude's the boss. That dude's the owner. He's got the title. But the leader has the people. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
People don't care about your title or your accolades. They only care if you care. And they don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Yeah, and I think that people, you know, coworkers get in this mindset of no matter how cool the boss is, he's the boss.
Right.
You know, it's like nobody wants to really be friends with the boss. You know, they're going to have these like, oh, we're going to all hit the bar later on and like not invite the boss because he's the boss. Right. You know what I mean? Like if you watch The Office, there's episodes like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think having that vision and being a part of the team is a big part of that. Like I often will say, if I share one of my employees' work, I will often say, I don't even want to call him an employee. I will often say like how lucky I am to get to work with this person.
All right. Another artist, a fellow
like
artist.
I'm in the mix with them. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
right.
the building's mine, the idea's mine, but like, you know, I chose you. I wanted you to work with me for my vision. I think that carries some weight, right?
Well, yeah, because just the way you said that, I was thinking like, well, you're just hiring people that inspire you, that you want to be around.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful way to look at it. Like, you know, I want to do these like paint nights. You know, I want to invite other studios and stuff, and like, I want to be around people that I want to be around. You know what I mean? I don't want to clock in and clock out and tattoo in my room with the door closed and not give a fuck what they're working on. Like, I want to like buzz around and like check out what's going on. Like, hey, what are you working on? What techniques are? Hey, what'd you think of that new machine you told me about? Like, kind of all in this together kind of thing.
Come on.
But keeping that vision clear, right?
That's right. So on to our list of 7 things we look for in no special order. Hip, do you want to spout one off that you added to this list?
Yeah, well, it's going to be funny I'm just imagining like what our listeners, you know, once we spout them off, we should go to the way, at least me and you, and I'm sure Josh falls into this
Let's
category.
do it. We'll say what they think is first, and we look for it last, right? Is that what you're getting at?
Basically, yeah.
So one of the first things you said was character.
Correct.
When someone wants to work with us, come on, join the team. You've been tattooing at 10 other shops in the game longer than us, but if you want to come over to our camp, we're not looking at your portfolio. We're looking at you and your character, right?
Absolutely.
And your heart. We learned a long time ago, we can take an average artist with a great attitude and great character and make them great. But we can't necessarily take a great artist who's a douchebag or an asshole and try and make them no longer a douchebag, right? So character matters.
And one that I didn't even put in there, and I don't know, it probably would fall into one of those, but I'm a big fan of, and this is just as personal to me and playing on my heartstrings because it's from the camp that I came from, but having no plan B, like this has to work basically. Because that's going to fuel, which I know this is one, your dedication and your passion, your drive.
That's right. So we put that all under, if we want to make number 2 is hunger.
Okay.
How hungry are you, right? And with that is your willingness, your passion, your drive. Nicole and Josh liken it to saying, do you have a motor?
Yeah.
Right.
This is very important to me. Okay. This is one of the most important things to me. Like, I want to see somebody that has serious motor, has a drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it sounds bad, but it's like don't do your best, do my best.
Yeah.
You know, I really want to see you want to succeed in everything in your life. I just want to be around that kind of person.
Yes.
You know? So to me, that's extremely important.
And someone and we know it real quick because everybody may talk like they are, but we're going to see if you're really about it by your actions. Who are you and how do you show up? Do you really show up hungry with drive to where it's re-inspiring us? Like, man, this chick's on fire.
Yes.
Which sets me on fire. Let's fucking go, right?
Yeah, because we all go through like slumps, you know what I mean? Like we all go up and down. You hire somebody new and they're on fire like that. Yeah, that whole shop gets like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it goes both ways.
That's
you walk
right.
around like you got dead flies falling off of you. Hey, you know, we feel that too.
That's right. And so that is an important one, your hunger, your drive, right? Which leads to the third thing, which is equally as important, which is what I call your teachability index. How teachable are you? Are you really coachable? You could say you're hungry. You could say you want it. You could say you want Mr. Carlton to show you how to be a badass tattoo artist like him. But how coachable are you? And so many people, here's 2 things that you can gauge your own teachability index with. Because so many people, including my own students, would be like, bro, I'm hungry, man. I want to learn. Mold me, show me. People call Hip and be like, yo, dude, can I come stand over you and watch you tattoo? And then Hip would get disgusted because they'd watch him tattoo for 4 minutes and then just be talking shit the rest of the day trying to be cool. It's like, well, he wasn't that coachable or teachable. He said he was. So here's 2 things. You could say you're ready to learn. You could say your teachability index is on 10, like you're teachable. But if your willingness and ability to accept change in your life is at a 0, then you're not teachable at all. how willing are you to actually accept change in your own life? Because so many of you artists already been doing art, already been drawing. Your girlfriend and your mom says you're the shit already, right?
Yeah.
And so this leads into a big thing that's important to you, Hip, about being critiqued, right?
Yeah, totally. I want to see my weak links, you know, and sometimes it hurts and it stings. But that's all right. You know, I'm always open to critiques. Sometimes, well, depending, I ain't going to say every time, but sometimes I am open to unsolicited critiques as well. Now, that doesn't mean everybody jump on my Instagram and fucking melt my face off.
Yeah.
But
This could get interesting.
Yeah.
And it matters. We were just before this show talking about two guys in our house that are both great dudes and both great artists, but obviously we're trying to make them the greatest. And they're both about at the same place. And we both know what we'd like to share with them, what we're going to share with them on how they can like make their tattoos better. But we also noticed, well, that one, we could totally go in and chop his head off in every way. And he's going to receive it and be grateful and be thankful, take the lesson and go be great. And the other, we already know, has a higher chance of getting so butthurt that we almost wonder, can we even tell him the truth? Right? And so which man do you think is going to become great at all, or at least quicker?
Right.
The one that's fucking teachable and open to being critiqued.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And you know, there's a 2-for-1 in this because, like you started out saying, like, be a great leader because there's no bad team. Yeah. This individual may be more fragile, but then that falls on the reliance of the leaders to carry a message that can be received by them.
Come on,
and
Hip.
get them to a place to where that they can receive. And you know, if you got to fucking chop a head off, it'll land a little bit better. And you know, when you were talking about like the dudes that would come and stand, want to watch, and then will only watch for a little bit, and then like want to show me paintings or talk to other artists or fucking whatever it may be. Skin in the game, and that falls under willingness too, because it's like, man, if this is all or nothing and it has to work, then, you know, chasing that bag when I was getting high, like, it didn't fucking matter by any means necessary. I was going to get one that day. So I just put that same hustle on tattooing. Like,
well, dude, and before you and I joined forces, the guy you used to work for, the owner of the shop you were at before you and I joined forces, out of two, he came to learn from me first. He came to shadow me first. He asked if he could, and I said yes. And this motherfucker showed up and maybe watched me tattoo for 25 seconds and then wanted to start and tell me all about him. Hey, let me tell you about me. Hey, here's my work, man. You know, and the dude that's like asking for a critique but really don't want it. He wants to explain to me, you know what I'm saying? And so that just showed me where he was at. He was coming to try and just be down and get cool points. It almost wanted us to just like nut ride, but he had no reason for us to. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't too much longer. You asked to do the same thing, but the way Hip showed up was 1,000 times different. Not only did he watch me tattoo longer than 20 seconds, I think he sat with me and stood over me for 12 hours. So which dude do you think I really wanted to pour into? Right. The guy who showed up, open, empty cup, ready to receive. That led to the next time I poured into him, he wanted me to teach him how to do color portraits. This time I went to his shop and I sat with you for maybe 14 to 16 hours helping you do your first color portrait, you know. But I didn't charge him for that or nothing. I saw a brother that I felt called to pour into, but I was able to pour into him because he showed me that he's actually teachable and has that drive and that hunger. Look who's sitting at this table with me today. No one even knows who the fuck that other guy is, right?
Yeah.
It matters.
I see so much of that. Like if you go to the forums, you know what I mean? It's a forum online called Fuck Your Critique. And it's like these people go on there because everybody in their shop has patted their ass and told them how great they were. So they go on these forums in the guise of it being a critique, but they think they're going to get their backs pat and they're just shocked when they get critiqued. And they're it's all excuses. It's all butthurt.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say to them. Well, I didn't have this that day. It's like, like you'll be like, well, you need more black. Oh, I ran out of black that day. And it's like, you ran out of black? It's like every possible excuse. Like, you
Is this
came
for real, dude?
critique.
Because you got some fucking cool ass shit when it deals with the fucking black ink, dude.
If you guys are not a member of that forum, I seriously think you should join it.
What's it called?
Fuck your critique. And they are fucking hard on you, and that's how it should be. You cannot critique unless you've been critiqued.
Okay.
You gotta get, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's fucking smart, but man, people get fucking dragged hard. They'll be all like, you can tell they're fishing, right? They'll be like, did this piece today, tear me up, rip me a new one. Yeah. And it's like, you shouldn't have said that, buddy. Because you can't outline yourself out of a paper fucking bag. And then it's just nothing but excuses all day long. It's
the fucking profile.
What do you expect me to do? I ran out of black.
Look, it's called "Fuck Your Critique." In the profile picture is a dude smiling, holding up a sign that says they fit to drag you.
Yep. They don't fuck around, man. You want to know? Like, if you want to know, like, if you're in your shop and everybody's kissing your ass, you want to know the truth? You fucking go in there.
Okay.
She'll get real fast.
And do you agree with the critiques? Because we know that there's a shitload of haters that just want to like shit on people too.
Mostly I do. I do feel like people are coming from a genuine place. Now, there's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine on here, because sometimes, so it'll be a good critique, right? But then you'll go look at the person's work who's critiquing them, and they're not any better, right? So is it the blind leading the blind?
Yep. Yeah.
It's tough sometimes, because it's like, okay, your work is not really any better, but you are giving good advice. So it's tough, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But it makes it easy though for that person to just go, you're just a hater.
Yeah.
Because their work's not that great. But maybe they are saying something that should be listened to. Especially, I've always said this, if you keep hearing the same thing over and over, right? If somebody told me, man, I wouldn't wear that hat on the podcast, you look dumb. But if, I'd be like, okay, whatever, that's your opinion. But if like 10 people said it, I might be like, damn, man, maybe my head's too small for this hat.
Yeah, right.
You start listening.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And there's a difference, because some people can look at art or a tattoo and see what it's still calling for, what it needs, even if they themselves don't know how to do it.
Yeah. It's exactly like, you ever notice, like, you got a friend, him and his wife are always fucking fighting, right? Yeah. And to you and him from the outside, you're like, I know exactly what the problem is. Right. They can't fucking see it. You're not a marriage counselor, but you guys fucking know. You know. You
Self-deception's hard to spot by yourself.
Boom.
Yeah. That's
so
good.
I do recommend that critique for him, but be ready.
I just sent my answers in. One of them was, "Are you a fucking sensitive pussy?"
The intake questions for they accept you. I love it. Awesome. Okay, so number 1, we got character. Number 2, your teachability index. Number 3, your hunger, your drive. Do you have a motor? Leading us to number 4, which is, are you a people person? I.e., are you open to community and even building and being a part of a team?
Yeah.
Are you really open to, because this vision here, and you're going to have your own vision that is connected to his vision and to mine and to ours collectively, like rising tides, all ships. Are you in this just for you, and are you trying to use me and us in this facility just for you and your career, because we can smell that on you when you walk in the door? Your life as much as me, all about me, right? We're not looking for you. If you want to go fast, go ahead and go alone. But if you really want to go far, go with a team. Go together. It's bigger than us. We're way stronger together. But do you know that? And even if you don't, are you open to seeing and learning that? Do you give a fuck about people? Because not only team building in-house, but we're in the people business. At the end of the day, tattoos do not pay you. People do. This doesn't mean you have to be a social butterfly. You can, but are you open to growing a community and a team together? That's just one thing we look for and that's important, you know?
And you have to fucking tattoo people, you know? Like,
Yeah. Yes, right. Number 5. This is a big one to Hip and I. Having the heart of a servant. Do you have a servant's heart? Again, we've said it before. Some people, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, fucking God in the flesh that people call Yeshua, Jesus, Yahweh, right? He was the King of Kings, people say, but he was also the servant of servants. We always say you can't outgive God or the universe, but it's fun to try. And yes, while you fronting and flexing and getting your portfolio and your line work up better, nothing exposes a man or woman's character than when we see how you treat others, when we see if you're willing to serve others. Are you kind to the person that you don't think has any say-so or bearing on your apprenticeship? You're going to be cool to me and Hip because you know we run and shit. But when Hip and I watch how you treat someone that you don't think you need, someone that you don't think is important, do you have a servant's heart? Are you above picking up a mop or a broom? We're not. Yeah. Are you open to taking out someone else's trash? Are you open when your brother's like had a long day while he finishes and he's out taking a photo to put gloves on and start breaking your brother down just because you have a servant's heart? Do you know your brother's been running and burning the candle at both ends? Do you ever have the thought to beat him at work and set him up for his noon tomorrow just because you have a servant's heart? It's important.
Yeah.
And you can't outgive.
What's interesting about a servant's heart as well is that early on, I thought like this most of my life. And I remember getting hired in a new shop, and the guy that owned the place was super stressed out because he didn't draw his, he wasn't prepared. He wasn't ready for his appointment, but he also had to scrub tubes. This is back in the day before cartridges, he had to scrub tubes and everything. He's like, man, I don't have my drawing done. I got to scrub these tubes. I got to get them in the autoclave. So I was like, tell you what, man, why don't you go work on your drawing? I'll scrub your tubes. Boom. And I thought that's a nice thing to do. Every single person in that shop was like, fucking brown noser, kiss ass, fucking look at the new guy coming in, fucking warming up, they some agenda. You know what I mean? But I genuinely was like, man, I would hope that they would do this for me.
Yeah. About that.
I don't remember ever looking at it as this will get me brownie points. It was just kind of like, I'm a problem solver. I saw a problem. I wasn't doing anything. I was the new guy. I wasn't tattooing. I wasn't busy.
Yeah.
I'm not above scrubbing tubes.
Right. And that's the difference. When you're actually have a servant's heart and you're around people that don't have one and don't understand it, so foreign that they're just, all they know is to talk shit. Surely you must have a motive because that ain't real.
Right.
That's just like, foreign to them.
Yeah, they're like, well, I know I would be wanting to get something. I'm going to get mine. Where's mine?
Right.
It's like I always have to say, you're that friend that I have to explain to people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's his goal? What's he doing? And he's like, helping.
Yeah.
I know. It's mind-blowing, I know, right? Are you ready for this? He's really nice and helpful. Oh my God. What the fuck? What do I do?
Man. So, yep, there'll always be people that way. There were fucking 30 years ago when you scrubbed that dude's tubes,
Yeah. I'm just whatever. I just keep on doing me,
Yes, brother. Yes. Okay, so that was number 5. We got 2 more to complete our list of 7. Number 6. We picked 6 because, I don't know, some people
fucking hail Satan.
Devil's number. To honor, again, our brother Chris Karloff. We've had to add this to our list.
Oh, yeah, this
is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Dude.
What is it, Hip?
Fucking, what's the worst thing about you?
Come on. And this is also a test on let's start a relationship out from the gate of being so authentic, so real. Keep it 100. Be so fucking honest. Come on, Chris would be like, what do I got to do for you to be completely transparent and honest with me? Tell me, what's the worst fucking thing about you? And once they get that out, boom, you're hired. We like that,
Man, I do.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever take a new hire on without doing that question.
So good.
Because, I mean, if you think about it, like, one, tattooing, I always say this, it's not a job. and it's not a career, it's a lifestyle. Like it consumes you and your being, and it's infectious to people around you. Like Megan never wore black. When we got together, it just started consuming her, and like now she dresses like me, and she likes different clothing brands that I like, or anything tattoo related, and then it spreads out to my friends, and my fucking mom's even rocking my t-shirts and tattoo shirts, and I've tattooed her and my stepdad. Like it's like you can't, you know, you hang out at a tattoo shop long enough, you get a tattoo. You hang out at a barber shop long enough, you get a haircut. So it's like you're going to be around these people. You're going to be traveling with them. You're going to be sleeping in fucking vans with them. You're going to be sleeping in hotel rooms with them. You're going to be beside each other talking shit to each other. Motherfucking people I work with, I fucking know more about them sometimes than I do my own brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
Like literal, like blood brother and sister. So off the rip, tell me the worst thing about you. I appreciate that because I appreciate the ugly foot.
Well, and another reason why that's a great place to start, because the number one thing that I think is so important, even when we're talking about the vision and the mission, I think the number one important thing for us to cultivate and create in our organization is high levels of connection and open, honest communication that inspires trust. So why not out the gate? Let's get real open and honest here. Honest communication that will inspire trust out the gate and inspire a deeper level of connection. That's so fucking important. That's why I like Chris is like trying to do that out the gate. Now our disclaimer is, because of everything else on the list, if the worst thing about you happens to, you know, it doesn't matter what that is, but you'll still have to be willing to be coachable and teachable. It doesn't matter what your past says, but part of growth is not carrying it with you and lunging it into your present and your future your whole life. It's to put it where it belongs, in the past, right? Yeah. So we're not here to judge you. We're here to relate to you on the worst thing. That's the worst thing about you? Fuck. Well, if you want to hear mine, fuck. Have you ever met Hip? Right? But it's gotta. But that it doesn't. Everything else matters too. You know, and I just want to be open because we added that to our list, inspired by Chris, but we've yet to implement it. Mm-hmm. It sounds cool. We'll see what really fucking happens when someone tells us their answer, and if we can still fuck with it.
I look forward to it. Yeah. I mean, there's not too much. There are some things that might be a fucking big red flag, but there's more things that aren't than that there are.
Yeah.
So you'd have to be a diabolical motherfucker.
Yep. Yes. And another reason why, back to character and really looking at someone's heart and their characters, because we know that there's so many people with like dysfunctions. We all got them. Unhealthy models. You know, I know that anyone we hire, we're also bringing in their psychology, their beliefs, their values, their identity. And so we got to really check that. Because we know that their beliefs, their psychology that we let into our house, our ecosystem, could fuck it all up. That's why we got to really look and discern and feel it out. And it's not about being perfect. It's about, are you willing to grow? Are you willing to look at you? Are you teachable? Are you coachable? Do you have humility? That's a big one with you, Hip, right? It matters so much. The moment we find out someone in our house all of a sudden isn't aligned, we try and address it real fucking quick. And this is where the firing fast model comes in. Hire slow, fire fast, which, you know, I haven't been good at because I'm such a lover. It's taken me a while to fire fast. But we will address it real fast, won't we?
Yeah.
And we do it morally. And we do it in love, you know? Because there's not one person that's more important than the vision, than the mission, for it's bigger than us. It's gained so much momentum, we almost can't stop it. It's touching so many lives, touching so many families, so many people. You know, we're used to being in tattoo shops every day, all day. That's what we do, artists. But you've got to remember, every single client that walks in the door lives a totally different life than you, day in and day out. From talk about the art form of building relationships, I mean, we got all kinds of people in our corner. And we wouldn't have known them otherwise had they not entered our gates. And we got to be the vessel in their life, the place of refuge for them to hide from their own problems, their own 9-to-5 cubicle, whatever the case may be. Single mother, school teacher, firefighter, whatever the case may be. When they enter your place, it is a new day for them. They're nervous, they're scared. It's healing, it's therapy. It's not something they do every day like you, and we must remember that always. And that mission, touching so many lives, is bigger than us, and we've got to protect it, nurture it, right? And it's not bigger than the boss. It's not bigger than the owner. It's always about the people. It's always about the mission. It's always about the vision. And that's where the real rewards come in. I mean, wouldn't you guys agree? Yes, Absolutely. It feels good to pull off a piece for our portfolio that we're stoked and pressed the limits, and I was finally able to get the contrast right and I blurred out that left side. I'm happy. But the even greater reward is the impact and the honor we get to literally be a part of the rest of people's lives, laying down tattoos that will outlive us, right? Mm-hmm. Part of our legacy, too. It all matters. And the last thing on the list, number 7. Now we'll look at your drawings.
Right. You know,
now we'll
see
your art. Yeah.
For me, whenever I'm looking at somebody's portfolio, and I think they think they're being funny because they're uncomfortable. Whenever they pull that, like, oh, it all sucks, like, don't do that. If you're gonna tell me your portfolio sucks, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go, oh, okay, and I'm gonna close that bitch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, don't come at me like that. Like, I see it all the time, and I think that they're trying to soften the blow if it does suck to me, right? Mm-hmm. But I've probably done it before, to be honest with you. I've probably gone into shops and done exactly that. It's just that uncomfortable thing to say. It's like, oh, you know, or they just start, before you even open the book, they're like making excuses. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. About how they don't have that camera. They don't have a camera anymore. Mm-hmm. They ran out of black or whatever.
A slew of disclaimers.
Just trying to defend their portfolio. Like, you know, put together a nice portfolio, believe in it strongly, and go in with that. And just sit quietly and let them absorb the artwork, you know, and ask you the questions, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're an apprentice or trying to get a job being an apprentice, don't show me no fucking tattoo pictures.
True. Yeah. You and your kitchen.
Ashtray full of fucking Marby lights sitting there. Fucking.
What do you mean? I thought that's where you come from.
It totally is.
See,
that's why I'm so descriptive in it. And you can actually, scratchers, if you're listening, you can use those ashes to refill your black.
No, because it's not hurting the scratchers. It's hurting their lovely client that brought a case of Busch Light and some pills for tonight.
Well, it ain't hurting too bad. I got a leg full of it right here.
Yeah, you all right? That should buff out.
Buff out.
Woo! Good shit, man.
So how often, since you've got like a pretty busy street shop, how often do you get people coming in, like just walking in for apprenticeship questions or even hiring?
These days, almost nil. We get asked a lot online.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
DM, Instagram, you know. And I'm always open to possibility. Right now, our building, we need a new building. Our vision has outgrown the building. And we've got, 4 apprentices right now?
Yeah.
If not 5 or...
It's to the point to where, because like when Matt was talking about Heart of a Servant, I was thinking like, you know, breaking someone down or setting them up. It's like, I can't tell you how long it's been since I haven't taken my own trash out. Not because I just haven't, but because there's never a chance or opportunity to, because they're on it, you know.
So like, do they set up your station and everything and break down?
Me, no, because like I've shown them that, but it's a ritual for me. I enjoy actually
I totally
doing
get
it.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the breaking down, I'm kind of leery about like them fucking with my Numas.
Have you ever been in your head? Like, so you do this tattoo, right? And you're stoked on it. So you're just totally in your head. And then like everybody in the shop's talking to you and stuff. So you're breaking down, right? And you're like not really paying attention.
Throwing the machine in the trash.
Have you ever went to throw away what you thought was something else and you threw your machine in the fucking trash? I did that once.
Yep, I've done it more than once.
Yeah, I'm just like, blah, blah, blah. Like,
I've done it and actually had to buy a new one, or it was either a machine or it was like a battery. It was something that was important and expensive, but I just chucked it. And I'm
I totally fucking was like, yeah, man, it looked like shit until it didn't. Ha ha ha. And I was like, fuck. You know? Fuck. So I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Yeah,
I've done all kinds of weird shit like that happen. Like I remember sorry to interrupt you. I remember shaking a bottle of fucking ink, and I saw my client's face just like making this weird face, and I'm like, what? And I look over, and it's just fucking red all over the wall. I'm just like, blah blah blah. I'm cool. And it's just fucking red all over the fucking wall.
Oh yeah, dude, I did the same shit. And the more shocking thing is, my client talking to me, and I see their face too. And it's all over their face. I just shocked that they never stopped me.
They never said shit.
I know.
Wasn't it you or Joey that threw away a machine and had the apprentices go into the trash and dig it out, like the outdoor trash?
It must have been Joey, because it wasn't me.
Okay, like I think he threw away like his bishop or something and was like,
Man,
oh God, we got to find that.
Speaking of clients that sometimes clients think they're helping, and they'll
Jeez.
On one
They
of those
never
forums,
are. Never.
On one of those forums, I saw a guy, he posted, well, it's been an interesting day. He fucking finished his tattoo. He said, okay, let's let it bleed out a little bit. I'm going to hit the restroom. I'm going to come back and I'm going to bandage you. So the guy goes to the tattoo artist, goes to the restroom, comes back, and the client was gone, but you could see remnants where he had taken barrier film and bandaged his own tattoo up, thinking he was helping out with fucking barrier film and who fucking knows what, and then left a tip like on the fucking dirty tray.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. I got you. I'll see myself out.
Yeah. I see it all the time. I'm always like, man, can I help you? And it's like, I'm good. I got it figured out, you know. But the money on the fucking tray or like on your dirty fucking any setup, you know, here's your tip, bro. Bam. And it's
or like
fuck.
They'll touch it or point. Are you gonna finish straight?
Oh, they're touching it. Yeah. Or they want to hug you. They always want to hug me with their dirty ass tattoo.
Or you go to put the stencil on and you're like, relax, and they're like,
yeah. I know, it's like suddenly. Can you just stand super relaxed? It's like, bro, you're getting it on your ankle. Or what about this? What about when they come in and they're like telling you what tattoo they want? I fucking love this. And they tell you that instead of just saying on my shoulder, they fucking whip their shirt off to show you their shoulder. Like you've never fucking seen. Oh, shoulder. I had a dude like fucking bend his leg up in some. He's like on my ankle, and he like all of a sudden his ankle was fucking up on the counter. Like where did it even come from? You know, I fucking love that shit. Or like, what about when they get in the? You're like, just go ahead and sit in the chair like a normal human being. You're like a puma. You know? Like I've got like this tray set up. You know, it swings out from the wall, and like if you were just a normal person, you just sit down like you do every day. But no, they fucking go like underneath the tray. Fucking sit in my chair. Like I'm gonna fucking tattoo them from my fucking dental chair. I'm laying back on my dental chair tattooing them, so I'm sitting up straight. Like it's like something happens. I know when I go to a bookstore, that shit happens to me. I forget what book I came in there for. I'm overwhelmed by all the fucking choices, you know? I guess that's what's going on, but like I know you guys have seen it every fucking day.
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah. Or
it's fucking hilarious.
Nerves or what have you. It could be a plethora of things, and I get it. And you know, I remember that arm that swings. Have you ever had a client try to sit on that?
No, but I've had him sit on my armrest constantly.
Yeah. Dude, I got one of these big fucking armrests. Shout out to Wentz Welding, by the way.
I just got two of those bad boys. I fucking
did you?
love them. I love them.
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
And they look like fucking couches. You know?
They do. Yeah.
And thank God they're so fucking hardy, dude, because they can support people sitting on them.
Yeah.
But
like, are you taking a nap on my armrest?
Right. All laid up on it like a puma.
I used to flip the script and fuck with people after enough people would get weird like that, and you know, and so I'd just try and beat them to the punch. So say if I was like doing a little ankle tattoo and we're getting ready, I'd just be like serious as fuck. I'd be like, I'm gonna need you to go ahead and remove your shirt and your bra. It's just procedure. And they're like, aren't we doing an ankle? Yeah, it's just you know. And then they'll start. And I'm like, I'm just kidding.
Right.
I did.
Hey, Joey, throw on some of that Steel Panther.
I used to say, okay, this is your first tattoo, and I'd be like, it's not that bad. I'm gonna start out with a quick line, and then I would turn around and I'd be all,
That's
One of my-
fucking. I gotta steal that one too.
One of my absolute fucking favorites is if you have a shop with a lot of flash, put a sold out sign on something and just fucking watch the chaos ensue. It's the fucking funniest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Wow.
Like armband, be like sold. I'd be like, oh man, I might have it in like a medium in the back. Let me check, but I'm pretty sure we're sold out. And they'd be like, oh man. Or like back in the day, like when coils, you'd have like your coils would be like purple glitter or some bullshit. And I'd be tattooing and someone would see that and be like, oh no, I didn't want purple. I don't want purple. And like the
Oh,
coils
thinking that
was
like
the
it
color.
was full of the color.
It kind of makes, I kind of get it, you know what I mean?
No, I've
Loaded
never.
your gun. You loaded your gun with purple.
I've never. As soon as you said it, I'm like, yeah, I've never experienced that before. But I totally could see, people. Cause
Yeah, like-
they're, again, it's like what Matt was saying. We're in the shop all the time, always. So it's like complete common sense to us. So if you think, if you put me in a fucking MRI room and told me like what these buttons to push this, I would be like, oh, I don't fucking know.
It makes total sense to you, right? But like, for those that are in the more modern shops today, like you miss some fucking fun times. Like with the flash and shit, like just, I don't know, man. Like the sold out shit fucking killed me. Like, I think we said it as a joke and then we started doing it. And then we started making these bets where like, okay, the next customer that comes in, you've got to say this. You've got to work this into your sentence.
Yeah.
And it would be like random shit, like the duck strikes at midnight. You know what I mean? But you had to fucking,
Say in all seriousness.
Yeah, you'd be like, well, the duck strikes at midnight, so I think it would flow really well if we did it. And you fucking, you know what I mean? And if you didn't do it, you had to buy everybody else lunch.
Yeah, love it.
I miss that shit. I miss those like old shop shenanigans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we got shit done. We worked our fucking asses off. This was back when we would do 10, 12 tattoos a day. We'd fucking just ripping and dipping and ripping all day fucking long. I miss that shit so much. Custom portraits are cool, but sometimes just a good old fucking solid working class tattoo.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Woo! He's right. Makes me want to go do one today.
Right?
Yeah, man. Yep, that's fun.
You got any of them armbands in large?
Man, dude. No, but I got two smalls we can maybe fuse together.
Right. Hey, babe, he's going to try to fuse them together. Or what about like people to be like, I want my kid's name. It's always like they have to call the wife. I've had people call their wife to make sure they spell it correct.
Man.
It's like, this is your kid, I'll never forget this one too. I don't know. I'm sorry, this has just turned into my fucking shop jokes, but I'll never forget this guy got fucking money over bitches tattooed on him.
Yeah.
But then he had to borrow money from his fucking girlfriend to pay for the tattoo. And I'm like, no, dog. Wait a minute. Am I seeing this right? Fucking, you know what I mean? That shit was fucking funny.
Babe, I'm short a little bit.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. Or, man, he's true as they fucking come. He's using his bitch money.
He's like I said, dog, money over bitches.
I'll take her money, not use mine. God damn it.
You might be right. You might be the coolest motherfucker ever. Yeah.
Woo.
But yeah, just those fucking, I don't know, man. Those fucking, there needs to be a book. I always wanted to write a book called Tales from the Other Side of the Needle, right? Where I basically tell a story like that. I send the book to Hip, and then Hip writes his fucking story, right? And we just send it around, man.
Dude.
Draw some shit, right? Boom. There's a book,
that.
Tales from the Other Side of the Needle. Just funny, fucked up shit. Because it's happened forever, man. I'll never forget this guy. We had security cameras, which we went back and watched because this guy was so fucking weird when he came in. He came in, pulled a fucking shot glass out of his pocket with a rubber ball in it to keep it from spilling in his pocket. It's fucking genius. That's how he starts out. But there's nobody in the lobby. We're in the back like fucking making needles, Takes a shot, lights up a fucking cigarette, and then when they come out, and I'm like, you can't smoke in here. He's like, I'm not smoking, I'm just holding it. It was lit and everything, Just weird shit like that, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you're like, I definitely want to tattoo this guy because it's going to get real fucking interesting. but I definitely don't want to tattoo this fucking guy.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, I got a slew of them stories.
Right.
Here we go. Mr. Carlton live on the podcast gets impregnated with new vision, a new idea, or sharing it with us, and so I think that book has just begun in the listening
We
of
should
your
do it,
voice.
man.
Yeah.
We got these, and like, we'll buy like a nice sketchbook or whatever, and like that's the book. Like if someone draws on shit, like make it look just like the fucking sketchbook, right?
Yeah.
It could be volume 1, volume 2. Like everybody's got these funny ass stories that we're getting so far away from. I don't want to, like, I know people are like tattooing should be dangerous and this and that. I do still believe in a little bit of that.
Yeah,
like a little bit
definitely
of mystery,
rough around
at least.
the edges. Totally.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
those stories, man, I don't know. Like, I'm hoping, like, your shop, we had a great vibe when I was there.
Yeah.
There's got to be some crazy shit that came out of your shop, man. How long have you been open?
We're coming up on 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you've already outgrown the place. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A
You
year
have,
ago.
though. I mean, you can tell when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking
And you know,
buzzing.
there's always some goofy shit. Like we got a veteran, Joey. I've had experience in fucking street shops and fucking holes in the walls and
Joe
shit
Brenner?
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I know Joe from when he was not a veteran
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
back in the day.
And everybody's got a quirky sense of humor, and I always like whenever we have new people in, like when Alexis started working, I had her sit down with me and tattoo in the bottom half of the shop, and I'm fucking wrecking on her like she's halfway in. I'm sure she's nervous. It's like her first time actually tattooing at the shop, and I'm like, oh, you're doing that one right-handed, cool. And just wrecking on, and she was firing back. So it's like that that camaraderie and like picking on each other and poking the bear. Like we're always about that. We got a little, and this ain't as intense as other shops, because I've been in other shops and there's fucking goddamn 18-inch dildo that gets hid in different places, or fucking stupid shit. You come to get home to work and everything that you own's Vaseline and then fucking wrapped in saran wrap. But like we got a little plastic piece of shit that actually looks pretty lifelike that we hide around the shop, and that's
Nice.
Again, I understand how timid this is for our listeners, but I guess I don't know. Maybe we just fucking matured into it. But it's when and when not to, and you got to discern your audience. If your client is cool with being fucking goofy and wrecking and shit, then like turn that shit up, But you may have a little grandma that's in there for the first time that's taking her a fucking check off the bucket list and wants to get a little dainty tattoo.
You gotta be careful, but like when I had a solo shop for so long that's what I started really missing. And now that I've got a small crew, but it's a crew, right?
Yeah.
And just walking in there, I feel that energy, and it's like, that's the shit that I was raised on. I fucking love that so much.
Yes.
Did I ever tell you guys the story about how much does it hurt? And I used to say, have you ever been on fire? Have I ever told you guys this? So forever, just to be, you constantly hear that, right? How much does a tattoo hurt? And I would just say, you ever been on fire? And it kind of eased, and it'd be like, well, God, no. And it was like, well, you'll be all right. You know what I mean? And I'm tattooing one day, and I don't see the person, but I hear that. I hear that same question, and I'm just like, you ever been on fire? And it just got real fucking quiet in the shop.
Oh shit!
Real quiet. And I'm like, and I fucking peep my head out, and the dude's all, yeah. And he's just completely fucking burned, head to toe. He's been in a fucking fire. And I'm like, it's not going to be that bad. Fuck, So be careful with that, yeah.
Yeah.
But man, like I felt my fucking heart drop to my goddamn fucking feet. You know what I mean?
Jeez.
I knew as soon as it got quiet like that, I fucking knew it. I'm like, this fucking guy's been on fire. I know it.
Damn it. Yeah. I got one that I almost had to quit telling folks. For years I would say things like, man, in this business I've done it all and seen it all. And just when I start thinking that, someone else will show up and blow my fucking mind, right? But I said that long enough that few people started questioning, oh yeah, have you ever tattooed this area? Yep. Have you ever tattooed a woman's vagina? Yep. And then they'd always get me on one. Have you ever tattooed a dick? And I'd be like, nope, that's the one thing I haven't, And and I wasn't ever seeking it out, but somewhere in the back of my head, part of me thought I need to do at least one so I can actually say I've done it all.
Right.
But I wasn't going to go looking for it. Well, it fucking came looking for me finally, right? And I was sitting at home next to my wife, Katie, and back then, because I was teaching the other guys, and this was at Brenner's shop, customer service, things like that, and they were blown away. They used to prank call me, acting like an angry customer, trying to get Matt Clemmer, catch him off and try and get me mad or something.
Right.
And every time they'd be blown away of how professional I was, how I could like overcome it. None of them could get me, but they'd always try and prank me to see if they could get me. So boom, my phone rings. It's an old man calling me to tattoo his cock. He kept using that word, you know. I immediately think I'm being pranked by the boys and they got someone else on the phone, but I'm playing along like I always do. I'm going to be professional to teach them. It don't matter what kind of call you get, right? But the more I'm talking to this old man, he's telling me how he wasn't able to find an artist anywhere to do it, and that most people said that I was a true professional, and if anyone was professional enough and that would maybe consider taking him on as a client, you need to call Matt Clemmer. He'll treat you as if he's a doctor, whatever. And the more he spoke, I thought, maybe this ain't a prank. This is for real. I keep saying old man. The dude was 72 years old at the time.
I think that qualifies for old man.
Okay, college professor. And teaches this botany, which is the study of plants and things like that. So I went ahead and booked the appointment with him, and I was honest with him. I booked the appointment for whatever date, and he's like, okay, before we hang up here, do you need anything else from me? If you do not call me back. I'm in the garage right now, so my wife don't hear me. Don't call me back because my wife will want to know what the call's about. If you need any changes, just email me. And I thought right there, I was like, oh, he's trying to surprise her. He's obviously trying to keep this for a secret. And he booked his appointment for when she was out of town. And even though he's 72, he wants his penis tattooed, and he's keeping it a secret, a surprise secret from his wife. Like, shit's already interesting. So we booked the appointment. He's like, I don't think I need anything else, but I got to be honest with you, sir. I've never done one. This is the first time. But the one thing I do know that needs to happen for any tattoo is we've got to figure out how to stretch the skin to even get the ink to go in. So we're going to figure that out together. I may throw you a pair of gloves, have you yank on one side while I'm yanking on the other to get the ink to go in. I don't know. We're going to have to figure it out together.
We're in this together.
That's right. And at this point, I've got him on speaker, and Katie's listening. And he's like, well, being 72 and all, I've got ED. I'm like, what? He's like, I got erectile dysfunction. I'm like, yeah. He's like, so I got me a penis pump. I'll go ahead and bring that, and I'll just pump up for the session. That'll help stretch the skin for you, right? And I'm like, I'm looking at my wife. I'm looking at my phone. Again, I'm professional as fuck. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess go ahead and bring your equipment, and we'll see how it goes, right? So fast forward. This dude shows up to his appointment, and like a lot of old people that seem to be on a one-track mind. Have you ever been standing in the bank at the line or in any line? And the old people, if you just step forward, they're going to step forward and they're breathing on the back of your neck, like, you know, like just one-track mind. You know, it's like, damn, give me some room, right? And he came walking in. There was other people in the house, even though this was when I worked with Chad Wells, and it was a private studio, and Chad had one side of the wall, I had the other. Now, Chad was on his side, and he had his people, and there was guests in the lobby. This old man comes walking through. We'd never met in person. One-track mind. Right when he walks in, he starts undoing his belt, and he's about to just drop his drawers. And I'm like, whoa. Like,
that locker room confidence.
I figured we should meet first or something, right? He goes right to it. Here's where the story, if this ain't crazy enough, that was all foundational. When this man did drop his pants, this guy has not one tattoo anywhere on his body except for he's covered on his boxer brief lines. You know, like as you wear boxer briefs where the top is and where the bottom's stopping the legs, all around his pelvic, his ass cheeks, and they were all plants because he's a botany instructor, and there's different types of plants and flowers. But the only tattoos he had was just his boxer brief line. But no artist was going to actually do like his penis and the shaft and none of that. And he wasn't planning on getting it. But since he's tattooed all around it, he was looking for someone, I'm the lucky one, to take the existing plants that he's got on him and just carry it all the way across and wrap it around his whole shaft so it just all seems blended, right? So I immediately, and luckily the plants were so illustrative, I could literally, like, I got a marker and pen and drew it. And I knew I needed to draw on, because he was going to pump up. I was like, dude, if you pump up and then I draw this on you, then when you're relaxed and normal, it may just look like blob shit. So let me create it on you while you're just limp and relaxed so it all looks good. And then in the times that you pump up or whatever, hopefully your design will just grow. Right. And again, I am being a professional. I am being an artist here. Already, I've probably lost so many listeners like this motherfucker, right? This is why I had to quit telling this story. And so, anyways, I did ask him, though. I was like, why? Like, why this? Why don't you have any tattoos anywhere else? And why are you hiding this from my wife? And he basically is like, because my wife's against tattoos, I'm not allowed to have them. So I only get them in places. I've only gotten them in a place where I can hide them. And I'm like, he's like, I know it sounds weird, but about 40 years ago, my wife had to get breast surgery, and the surgeon just did a real hack job on her. So from that day forward, my wife and I've never seen her naked. And he's like, I know that sounds weird. We have a wonderful relationship, a great sex life. Believe it or not, that's why I got this pump here. But she's either got a shirt on, or we always do it in the dark, whatever, just to protect her. We don't see each other naked, but we have a great sex life. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. And I was like, not even passing in the shower, nothing. He's like, nope, that's why he's able to hide his tattoos underneath his underwear, which blew my mind. Now, I didn't want to, I was being devil's advocate. I was like, how long you and your wife been together? And he said, since kindergarten. Well, how old is she? 73. And I was like, well, no offense, but you're in your 70s. Like, what's really going to happen if you did come home with a new tattoo tonight? It's not like she's going to break up with you and go to the club and find somebody else tonight. Like, what? He's like, no, she'll do the thing I don't want her to do. And I was like, well, what's that? And he's like, get another damn dog. And I was just like, damn, this man's hiding his tattoos because he don't want her to get a puppy. I'm like, fuck,
holy shit.
It just blew my mind. Not only is he a botany professor, but he loves going to nude beaches and shit. And, so it's just like, it was mind blowing. Right. Yeah. And we did it. And
get another
guys,
damn dog.
I know it. And he did, I drew it on him. He did pump up. And to be honest, just from a technical standpoint, boys, I don't know how I would have been able to do that tattoo if he wasn't erect.
Yeah.
Right. And so when I remember, obviously after that day, my buddies, that don't happen every day. So when my buddies would show up, I'd be like, you guys won't fucking believe what I did yesterday or whatever. And as I would tell my dudes, their faces all would change, and they just look at me like, the fuck, Clemmer? Like, they've changed their minds about it. They're looking at me different. And then my dude was just staring at me. He's known me since second grade. He's like one of my boys, and it's like his whole mind just changed about me. I could see it in his face. I'm like, what? He's like, Clemmer. I'm like, what? He's like, you just had another man's dick in your hands. I'm like, I wore gloves. Like,
I'm not a fucking animal.
Dude, I wore gloves. I'm a professional, right? But it was like they lost respect for me. And I'm thinking, well, fuck, what a great, amazing, weird story. And now I can officially say I have done it all, right?
Wow, right.
But
see, now
most
there's a
dudes,
perfect story for the book.
That's right.
Perfect story for the book.
Man.
Have illustrations.
Right.
Oh, I got pictures. You bet your ass I took pics.
Was he well endowed?
Well, that's all subjective, isn't it?
Well, see, the whole thing is interesting, though, right? Because your boys looked at you like they judged you, right? But you're a professional. Like,
that's right.
I'd like to hear our listeners. Like, to me, to be honest with you, I wouldn't really have that much of a problem with it. I've not tattooed a penis before.
Yeah.
I whenever I'm asked, it's always in the form of a hey buddy, have you ever you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I come back with some handling fee bullshit joke. You know what I mean?
I did charge a handling fee on that guy, my normal day rate, and I charged an extra $500 handling fee.
Right. But to me, it's like, I mean, I'm not saying I'm equal to a doctor, but you do things, right? So if it at the end of the day, if it's about a professional tattoo, I don't know, like. I'm not that weird about it, I guess.
Me neither.
You know what I mean? Like, I think I'd be okay with it. It's not something I would specialize in. You know what I mean? Or want to do a ton of. More so out of just the entire thing being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right. Do you dermalize it? Do you not? Like, is this a good idea to use stencil stuff on? Because there's that's going to be a whole other issue.
Right.
So,
and I even asked him, like, how is it? Does it hurt and stuff? And it was an interesting, because everything was a delayed reaction. He almost acted like when my needle was in him and I was like in that certain spot, he almost didn't feel it until I moved on. Then the spot I hit a few minutes ago, then the pain showed up, and it was a full color piece. Like his flowers, he had plants and flowers.
Like
Guys,
you did a wiener sleeve.
Dude, I did a fucking wiener sleeve, and I packed the tip of his head fucking magenta.
Oh my god! See that to me, that's where the pain.
I know it. Yeah.
Well, and if anybody knows about the viscosity of magenta, and I'm sure you were using Eternal.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, dude.
I know, dude.
Jesus.
The hardest color to get in on a fucking thigh, And, at the time, and so again, I am professional. I do have a heart for people, and this dude sold me on that no one else would do it, and so I wanted to. I will say, since it was my first, I don't know if it, I think I'd have been cool regardless, but it was a different experience since it was like I'm helping my grandpa versus some 22-year-old kid, But ultimately, it was funny because he's like, man, Matt, this could be a whole niche market for you because no one else is doing this. No one else is offering. I'm like, yeah, like the 3 people I may gain is marketing myself as that guy. I'll lose the hundreds.
Yeah, you don't want to necessarily be known for that. Yeah.
Calm down, get your Packer Caddies out.
Yeah. I get to see the commercial. Yeah. No, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Oh, great book idea, Josh. There's one.
One for the books.
That's right. Man.
Yeah. I think it's funny, this whole episode, we just touched on art just a small amount, and it's really like that. So, yeah, if you're looking for a job to be an apprentice, or not a job, if you're looking to change your life and traject it in the direction the tattoo industry is headed, like Josh always says, you can try, but ultimately I think tattooing chooses you. You don't choose it. Because it chose
100%.
me.
And
100%.
to put a big cherry on top and to wrap this conversation up, I'd love to leave you listeners with some tips
No
for
pun intended.
apprenticeships. Right. Tips for you apprentices. All you apprentices listening, even if you feel discouraged, I'm going to give you 2 things right now that it don't matter what your mentor's doing or not doing. But if you're the shop owner and you've got apprentices right now and you're almost wondering like, fuck, what else should I do with them? These will be helpful to you. Now, oftentimes apprentices, they go through whatever process at your place before they ever hold a machine. So many apprentices fall into the trap of making it feel like you're in some waiting room, like you're just biting your time. Yep, you'll take out trash, sweep, mop the floor, and you're just waiting, biting your time, biting your lip, trying to act like a servant, but you're really just waiting till you get to hold a machine. And if that is you, you are robbing yourself of the beauty and the magic of the season you're in. You're going to be holding a machine, and your whole life will change, but you should be using this time to prepare like you've never prepared before. And so here are 2 major things, perspective shifts that you can have. So you're not just the apprentice like, what about me waiting in some waiting room being a mopey ass, right? Number 1, fast forward 3 years from now, 5 years from now. What type of artist do you want to be known for? What's your Instagram look like? What type of sleeves, back pieces, torso pieces are you doing? Body art. Today's technology, you can take an arm or a whole body and throw it into a computer. You can do a 360 and you can start building a sleeve and creating imagery. Right the fuck now. You say you want to write a platinum album, but you act like you don't have any music in your head or your heart until we show you how to play G, C, and D. We're going to teach you how to play the song, but you can go ahead and be working and writing your fucking album now. We'll teach you how to play it. We'll teach you how to tattoo it. Do not wait till you get your first few guitar lessons to then decide what kind of music you're going to write. Write your music now, then we'll teach you how to play it. So, what kind of artist do you want to be and be known for? Create the designs now, create the sleeves now, and make it your own declaration for your future self that I will take tattoo of the day with this piece one day. It's what I want to do. I'm going to do this at Evergreen one day, whatever the case may be. Start declaring and preparing for the manifestation of your best life right the fuck now. And here's the good news. Since you are an apprentice, your window that's open to create your art is wide open. Once you get a machine in your hands and start taking on clients, that window gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Now you're working on other people's designs, other people's art, versus having all this time to create your own. So many artists tattoo and then try and find their style, then try and change their marketing and their brand to get their niche and attract their clients. Why not fucking define it and design it right the fuck now out the gate? Once we teach you how to play, once you hold a machine, why not already have your first 30 tattoos designed up for grabs, your own flash that you want to tattoo? You can start promoting yourself and sharing who you are on your journey as the apprentice right now. Your art, your designs, get people to see you, love you, fall in love with you, and want to support you in your journey. People will be like, man, I love this person. I want a tattoo from them when they get started to make history with them. So that's one. Focus on your art now. Create it now as if you already are an amazing tattooer, and we'll teach you how to tattoo that way. Quit acting like you're in a waiting room, whining and bitching like you ain't got shit to do. Do you want it or not? So that's one. Number two, I suggest you shadow the artist in your shop that you're down with. Real talk, my baby's waking up, so we're going to have to wrap up real quick. So off this, number two is shadow consultations with the artist that you want to be like. Shadow the consultations. But when you're shadowing him, I want you to, in your own head, pretend like you're not shadowing. Pretend it's your client and your consult. And whatever the consultation goes down, you as apprentices, I want you to pretend that that's your tattoo, your client, your design, and you're on a time frame. What are you going to do to go get ready? As if you're actually doing that tattoo, and design it and even share it to the person you're shadowing. And if it's good enough, watch the artist you're shadowing maybe take your piece and tattoo yours. Start being it. You can be the tattoo artist you want to be right now and do and be all the things minus holding the machine. Don't wait to step into that. Step into that now. There's a consultation happening in your studio today. Are you talking shit in the break room, waiting till someone needs something or go on a run for something? Why don't you go shadow them? Be a fly on the wall. Pretend it's you. Pretend the time constraints are on you. You've got to come up with this design by such and such date. And do that every day as if you're an actual real fucking tattooer. I just can't tell you how important it is. And I could go on, but I just want to leave you with those two things to shift on what the fuck you're really doing today as an apprentice. And you shop owners, what are you fucking really doing with your apprentices today? There's two things. I hope that just caused a great shift for you.
Fantastic advice. Absolutely.
Thanks, y'all. Tattoo Guardians from all across the globe, we fucking love you guys so much with our whole hearts. Thank you for sharing this journey with us. Start getting your ideas for Behind the Needle ready. We might just send you a book to contribute. Thank you, Hip, for serving us from your table. Thank you, Mr. Carlton, for showing up no matter what. Thank you, Mike. We love all of you. Till next week.